Good evening, welcome. We're returning from closed session. At this time, can we please have roll call?
Trustee Hodges.
Present.
Trustee Flores.
Present.
Trustee Young is absent. Vice President Amboy.
Present.
And President Fox.
Present.
Trustee Valdez Jacobo.
Present.
Trustee Arbab is absent. And Trustee De Leon. Present. Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. Reports of actions taken in closed session. Our first item was item 3AI. For student expulsion, student number ID F2025-STP03. Can I please have a motion? Vice President Amboy,
I'd like to make a motion.
Trustee Hodges,
Second.
can we please have roll call to approve this expulsion?
Trustee Hodges.
Aye.
Trustee Flores.
Aye.
And Trustee Young is absent. Vice President Amboy.
Aye.
President Fox.
Aye.
And the motion passes 4 with 1 absent.
Our next item was a public employee discipline dismissal release complaint item. Government Code 50957. And for this item, it was for employee dismissal 3B. Do I have the employee number? Don't need it. Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve this dismissal? Vice President Amboy,
I make a motion to approve this 3B.
Trustee Flores? Second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hodges.
Aye.
Trustee Flores.
Aye.
Trustee Young is absent. Vice President Amboy.
Aye.
President Fox.
Aye.
And the motion passes 4 with 1 absent.
Thank you. Our next item from closed session was item C, Public Employee Performance Evaluation. We reviewed the superintendent's goals and gave direction. That concludes our items from closed session. At this time, do I hear a motion for the adoption of our board agenda? Trustee Hodges,
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the board agenda.
Trustee Flores,
Second.
roll call, please.
Trustee Hodges.
Aye.
Trustee Flores.
Aye.
Trustee Young is absent. Vice President Amboy.
Aye.
President Fox.
Aye.
Trustee Valdez Jacobo.
Aye.
Trustee Arbab is absent. Trustee De Leon.
Aye.
And the motion passes with 4 yes, 1 absent.
Thank you. We are now down to agenda item 6, board presentations and resolutions.
I don't believe we have any district partners to recognize for donations this evening, so we're going to go to 3B, which is a presentation by the Ser Latino program.
Good evening. So good to see you all. Good evening, President Fox, Vice President Amboy, Superintendent Aurelio, and all of you who are here, the families that are here. We want to share just a little bit about what's taking place with our program, Ser Latino. I have the privilege of being the program director. And although we are still in our early stages, we have done tremendous work over the past 2 years. And tonight, a few of our students will share their experiences. They recently attended a Latina Voices, an event that was sponsored by Ms. Marisela Barbosa. She's the founder of the Time Is Ya Network, and she's also the creator of Latinos in Higher Education Conferences. Our goal for this field trip was to place students in a space filled with leaders who look like them and represent what's possible. Students had the opportunity to sit together with leaders in our community we were graced with the presence of former Solano County Superintendent Lisette Henderson Estrella, Suisun City Mayor Alma Hernandez, Mina Loera Diaz, who is the former vice mayor of our city, and also the founder of El Centro Latino and Ser Latino, and also Dr. Antonia Ofranco, who is the president and CEO of Digital Nest. These are women who have broken barriers and opened doors. But I am sure you guys don't want to hear from me anymore. You guys want to hear from the students. In that spirit, I do want to recognize two women that have shaped my leadership. And Dr. Young, I am a proud alumni, class of '99. Dr. Young was my vice principal, so hopefully she'll see this. And I'm just so grateful. I honor her. I honor also Ms. Mina Loera Diaz, who has been a mentor in my life, and she has led the way for so many. I honor them, and I thank them for pouring into thousands of young girls over the years. And so without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce you to our amazing students. We're going to start with student trustee Jacobe.
Good evening, board, community. It is such a blessing, a pleasure to be here. My name is Sonia Valdez Jacobo. I am a junior attending the Vallejo High School and a proud Ser Latino student. I am the proud daughter of an immigrant, and as an immigrant herself, this is something really personal to me. This field trip, hosted by Mrs. Mariela Barbosa with Time Is Ya Network, was created to celebrate leadership, Latina leadership, culture, and community on September 17th. 45 Ser Latino students who were invited to attend this wonderful event. It was so full of emotion. It was full of excitement to hear from these leaders, to hear from people who look like us, who speak like us, and who come from same backgrounds as us. We were all able to sit down in a table, collaborate, speak, network is what we would say. We were able to share our experiences. We were able to hear their experiences, and we were just able to connect with them in a way that you wouldn't be able to connect with somebody so simply. It was something so personal. It was something so pure to see these Latina leaders. And the entire experience was inspiring and empowering. It honored Latina empowerment, cultural pride, and representation. And it reminded me of the power of our voices and how important it is for us to use that. I plan to attend college, a 4-year university. I plan to study political science and use my voice to help others, to uplift others, and to support others. Now I introduce you to Ser Latino Student Vice President Priscilla Arredulfo.
Hi, thank you. Good evening. Oh, wait, what? Okay. Thank you. Good evening. Hi, my name is Priscilla Arredulfo. I am a sophomore at Vallejo High School and proudly serve as the student vice president of Ser Latino. I am a first-generation Mexican-American, and I am very, very proud of my heritage. I am currently dually enrolled and taking college courses while still in high school, with the goal of pursuing a career in the health field, either as a nurse practitioner or in public health. Hearing from inspiring Latina leaders showed me that there is always space for our voices and our culture. Their stories reminded me that leadership is not only about achieving goals, but uplifting others and opening doors. I walk away feeling proud, motivated, and more confident in my own journey. Representation matters because when we see Latinos and Latinas in education, business, and leadership, we see what is possible for all of us. It inspires future generations and strengthens our communities by proving that our voices and perspectives belong in every space. During the field trip, some of the highlights were being able to sit with local Latinas who welcomed my voice and my experiences, and share my personal story, goals, mis sueños, y mi esperanza for the future. I was also able to engage in meaningful conversation, encouragement, and mentorship. One moment that stood out to me was when Dr. Antonia Ofranco mentioned being part of Upward Bound. That is also a program that I am a part of. And hearing her story felt like hearing my own, full of encouragement and opportunity. Ser Latino has helped shape me into the leader I am becoming. This program has given me confidence, guidance, and a community that believes in me. It taught me that leadership begins with knowing who you are. Because of Ser Latino, I feel empowered to use my voice and create spaces where others feel seen and supported. Now, I would love to introduce you to Ser Latino student president, Camila Alvarez.
Hi everyone, my name is Camila Alvarez. I am a sophomore at Vallejo High School and I have the great responsibility to lead the Ser Latino student program at my school. I am a proud daughter of a Salvadorian mom and Mexican dad, both immigrants. During our field trip, we were able to share our hopes, our dreams, and aspirations. I left this experience feeling inspired to keep growing as a leader, work hard in school, and stay involved in my community. I can now picture myself in different leadership roles, whether in business, public service, medicine, education, college, or even in politics. The women I met shared powerful stories about breaking barriers and creating new opportunities. Their sacrifices showed me that they open doors so I can follow, lead, and accomplish great things. Now I introduce you to my fellow classmate, Ninoshka Gramajo.
Good evening, board. My name is Ninoshka Gramajo. I'm a junior at Vallejo High School and a proud Guatemalan. Hearing from Latina leaders during the Latina Voices launching inspired me to overcome fears and speak up with confidence. As a Latina, facing stereotypes and challenges can sometimes feel overwhelming, but this experience reminds me that nothing is impossible when I lead with courage. Opportunities like the Latina Voices launching are essential for students' growth and empowerment. They allow us to see leadership that reflects our culture, language, and lived experiences. Moments like this build confidence, inspire academic ambition, and help us envision new possibilities for our futures. Connecting with leaders who have walked similar paths shows me that my voice belongs in every room, from classrooms to boardrooms. One leader who stood up to me was Mina Loera Diaz, the founder of the Ser Latino program. Seeing how she created a program that uplifts and supports students at her schools showed me that how leadership looks like, opening doors for others. Being part of Ser Latino program has shaped my confidence and helped me embrace my culture. It has given me a community where I feel supported, where we share ideas, and where we lift each other up. Because of this program, I believe in my ability to live and make a positive impact in my community. Thank you. Now I want to pass this on my classmate, Donna Melendez.
Good evening. My name is Donna Melendez. I am a sophomore at Vallejo High School, and I am honored to be a part of Ser Latino program. I am also a owner of a small business and a proud daughter of immigrant parents. I want to give a heartfelt thank you to every leader who attended the Latina Voices event and shared their wisdom, encouragement, and vision with us. A special thank you to Ms. Mina Loera Diaz, the founder of Ser Latino, for creating a space where Latinos can grow, feel supported, and thrive. Thank you to Ms. Jessica Gonzalez, our program director, for making sure we always have a space and a voice to celebrate our culture, our identity, and our comunidad. Here at Vallejo High School, thank you to Ms. Marisela Barbosa for putting this event together and making sure everything came out beautiful. And a thank you to our principal, Ms. Marshall, and the entire high school admin team for supporting this program and believing in us as students. Now I pass it down to my classmate, Camila Alvarez. Thank you. In closing, we want to thank the VCUSD Board of Directors, President Fox, Vice President Amboy, Superintendent Aurelio, and district leadership for supporting programs that empower students like me. Room 99 is our Ser Latino home, a space where kids a space where we have homework, club, mentorship, leadership, and community. During lunch, we play loteria, catch up on tarea, listen to music, eat our comidita, and welcome every student who walks in. For those of us in the Ser Latino, Room 99 is the heartbeat of our high school experience. It's a place where our culture, our language, and our sense of belonging come alive. Beyond the room, we celebrate our cultura across campus, from papel picado in the quad to folklorico practices that invite all students to be part of the experience. Thank you for having us tonight.
You guys did great.
You did incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, we definitely would like to have a picture taken, but I would like to first, having all your voices and hearing your experience, it just was so inspiring. And I loved hearing how, thank you to all the leaders who brought this together and made it possible. I think the role models that we have in this room and the future role models that we have in this room are just going to continue to build upon our incredible Vallejo community. So thank you so much for being here tonight and taking your time to let us hear your voice and to hear what's going on. And I'm excited for your journey. And when you all were talking about maybe politics, I was like, yes, yes, mayor, city council, school board, governor, president. So the sky is the limit. Just keep believing in yourself because we believe in you and we are so proud of you. You are Vallejo. So thank you so much for everything tonight. Want a picture? Yeah, is it okay to get a picture?
Can I make a quick comment? Thank you all for doing this. There's a conference coming up in February from CALSA, which is the California Latino Superintendents Association, and they have an event, it's called Focus on Results, and they need student voices. And I'm really interested to know, and we'd work with you, if you're interested in doing what you just did, maybe expanding a little bit and presenting to a bunch of educators. A presentation, so we'll make that plug.
Very good idea. Again, let's have Vallejo represented and show how great we are here. All right, let's get a picture and then let you go. Okay. Should we get a second row behind us?
Yes,
Board members, let's get behind us.
I'll come next time, Dean, when it's Latinos with Masters. That's when I'm front and center.
Don't get in the back. More. Principal. Thank you, I was thinking that too.
I know. You can take it first.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
And then this one. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Thank you.
That was fun.
I just want to add something really quick. I'm Marisela Barbosa Cortez, and I am actually a graduate from Vallejo High back in 1991. So when I see these young ladies here, it's a reflection for me. So I'm really excited that I was able to make this happen for them. Thanks.
Much. Have a good evening, thank you. We are now down to 6C.
C.
Adoption of Resolution 5084, recognizing November 11th as Veterans Day.
So we're going to ask, are you ready?
Trustee Hodges?
No, we're actually going to have
Oh.
Trustee De Leon
Oh, okay.
read the resolution for us.
Thank you.
Whereas since our great nation's birth, our beloved America has been blessed with an infinite chain of patriotic heroes who have served or are serving our armed forces with loyalty, honor, and distinction. And from the bombs bursting in air in the War of 1812 to the halls of Montezuma in the Mexican-American War, the naval battles of the Spanish-American War, the Flanders fields of World War I, the skies of Europe in World War II, the frozen tundras of Korea, the rice paddies of Vietnam, and the deserts and mountains of Southwest Asia during Operation Desert Storm, and the global war on terrorism. Generations of our brave heroes have valiantly fought our country's battles in the land, the air, the sea, and whereas on Veterans Day, our historic and beautiful city pauses to honor and pay tribute to all those who have served or are serving in our military, because each time our values have come under assault, they have responded with resolve, valor, and sacrifice, and their gallantry have allowed our republic to flourish. And our great nation acknowledges our profound debt of gratitude to the patriots and unsung heroes who have kept our beloved America safe and secure. And whereas we keep in mind the immeasurable cost of fighting for the American way of life by remembering the 1.2 million Americans who lost their lives in wars since the American Revolution, and recognizing the 18.6 million living veterans, many of which are enduring service-connected disabilities, and as the city of Vallejo is home to about 7,440 veterans and hundreds more active duty and reserve service members, we respectfully honor and recognize their service, valor, sacrifice, and immense contributions. And whereas we are mindful that no ceremony can ever fully repay our debt of gratitude to all our service members and veterans, and these honorable men and women who risked everything in serving our great nation should never have to fight at home for basic dignity, healthcare, social services, education, housing, and employment opportunities. Therefore, we must make it our mission to give them the respect and care they have earned so they can continue serving in new ways by bringing their tremendous knowledge, skills, and motivation to our communities, businesses, and organizations. And whereas, with immense support from the City of Vallejo, several Veterans Day weekend events will honor all those who served in the great military for our grateful nation, including the November 11th 9 a.m. ceremony at the Mare Island Naval Cemetery, and the November 11th, 11 a.m. ceremony behind Vallejo City Hall. Therefore, be it resolved that the Governing Board of the Vallejo City Unified School District do hereby recognize November 11th, 2025 as Veterans Day, and we salute all those who served in the military as well as their families and caregivers, and we encourage everyone to recognize their honorable service, uncommon valor, and selfless sacrifice by honoring them, by displaying the flag of the United States of America, and by practicing in patriotic activities in our communities, civic and fraternal organizations, places of worship, schools, and other appropriate commemorative expressions of gratitude, passed and adopted this 5th day of November 2025 at a regularly scheduled governing board meeting.
Would you like to make a motion to approve Resolution 5084?
I would like to make a motion to approve resolution number 5084.
Thank you. Trustee Hodges, do I hear a second?
As an Army veteran, I'd like to first say, hooah, go Army, and a second.
Thank you, sir. May we please have roll call?
Trustee Hodges?
Aye.
Trustee Flores?
Aye.
Trustee Young is absent. Vice President Amboy?
Aye.
President Fox?
Aye.
Trustee Valdez Jacobo?
Aye.
Trustee Arbob is absent. Trustee De Leon?
Aye.
And the motion passes with 4 yes, 1 absent. Thank you.
Colonel Liga, I saw
We
you
just-
just walked in.
We just passed the resolution. Sure. And we talked about the 9 o'clock on the 11th at the cemetery and 11 o'clock behind Cindy Halls.
Thank you so
Our
very
student
much.
trustee read it beautifully, our resolution. Would you like to say a few words?
Well, thank you so very much, President Fox, Vice President Amboy, and trustees, Superintendent, for passing the resolution. And I invite you all to our 9 a.m. Ceremony at Mare Island Naval Cemetery, just a couple of miles south of here, and then 11 a.m. at behind City Hall. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Sorry. Our next item is item 60, which is the adoption of resolution number 5087, honoring Vallejo's Major League Baseball Hall of Fame player and family, and announcing May 2nd, 5/2, 2026, as Cece and Amber Sabathia Day. Ms. Hazel Wilson, would you like to come up? I know I have a card for this item. Do you want to say a few things before we read the resolution?
Superintendent Aurelio, President Fox, and members of the board. On behalf of CC and Amber Sabathia and the Pitchin Foundation, we would like to thank you for this recognition. CC is a very proud graduate of Vallejo High School, class of 1998. He was a three-sport athlete there, and he's one of the few players that Coach Wilson said, okay, you're not going to go straight to college, go straight to the league. And it has paid off. From the beginning, he always remembered the Vallejo City Unified School District. The thousands of backpacks, school supplies. He's the largest contributor to the teacher store, scholarships, a holiday food giveaway in North Vallejo, and on and on. From the beginning, I'm a good friend of his mom's. He asked us to participate, Coach Wilson and I, in being the boots on the ground in Vallejo, and we are honored to serve. So again, thank you. And May the second is important because 5-2 was his number with the Yankees. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll have student trustee Valdez Jacobo read the resolution.
I would like to make a motion to adopt resolution 5087. Then do I keep reading it? Okay. Honoring Vallejo's Major League Baseball Hall of Fame player and family, designating May 2nd, 2026, CC and Amber Sabathia Day. Whereas Karsten Charles C.C. Sabathia Jr., a proud native of Vallejo, California, and a distinguished alumnus of Vallejo High School, was an outstanding three-sport athlete at Vallejo High School, class of 1998, has achieved unparalleled success in Major League Baseball, culminating in his induction into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, and whereas throughout his illustration career, C.C. Sabathia demonstrated exceptional skill, sportsmanship, and dedication, earning numerous accolades, including a C.Y. Young Award, 6 All-Star selections, and a World Series championship. And whereas Amber Sabathia, a Vallejo High School class of 1999 alumna, was an honor student and a cheerleader. And whereas Amber Sabathia, a dedicated philanthropist and advocate for youth, has been instrumental in the success and expansion of the Pitchin Foundation that she co-founded with her husband, Cece, in 2008. Tirelessly working to create opportunities and provide resources for underserved communities. And whereas the Pitchen Foundation, under the joint leadership of CC and Amber Sabathia, is dedicated to enriching the lives of youth in Vallejo and nationwide, providing essential resources and opportunities that foster education, athletic development, and a positive community engagement. And whereas CC and Amber Sabathia has provided over 100,000 in scholarships to local scholars, supplied backpacks and school supplies to every school in VCUSD, is a major donor to the VCUSD teacher store, where teachers shop for free supplies, has provided turkey and food donations to his beloved North Vallejo community, upgraded the baseball fields at Vallejo High School and North Vallejo Little League, and provided a new athletic and cheer uniforms and equipment to Vallejo High School teams. And whereas the foundation of invaluable contributions have significantly impacted the Vallejo City Unified School District and its students, offering programs that promote academic excellence, healthy lifestyles, and strong character development, thereby inspiring countless young individuals to pursue their dreams. And whereas Cece and Amber Sabathia, together with their children, serve as exemplary role models embodying the values of hard work, perseverance, and giving back to the community. And whereas the Vallejo City Unified School District recognizes that profound influence and positive legacy that Cece and Amber Sabathia have bestowed upon our city, our schools, and our youth. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that the governing board of the Vallejo City Unified School District does hereby declare May 2nd, 2026 as CC and Amber Sabathia Day throughout the Vallejo City Unified School District in honor of their outstanding achievements, philanthropic endeavors, and unwavering commitment to the community, passed and adopted by the governing board of the Vallejo City Unified School District on this 5th day of November, 2025.
I heard that you already made a motion. Do I hear a second? Trustee De Leon, did you want to make a second?
Sorry. I second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hodges.
Aye.
Trustee Flores.
Aye.
Trustee Young is absent. Vice President Amboy.
Aye.
Trustee Fox.
Aye.
And I'm sorry, President Fox.
Aye.
Sorry about that. And Trustee Valdez Jacobo.
Aye.
Trustee Arbob is absent. Trustee De Leon.
Aye.
And the motion passes with 4 yes, 1 absent.
Thank you. Trustee De Leon, would you like to say something?
Valdez Jacobo.
Jacobo, sorry.
No worries. Just kind of coming back to that, I really, if you guys could please thank Cece Sabathia, Mr. Cece Sabathia, and Mrs. Amber for their continuous support. It's an honor to be part of this, to be a part of that school, that community, that family. Mrs. Marshall, Ms. Vaughn, again, if there's in any way that I could support this cause, please don't ever doubt on reaching out, letting me know. Like, I really love serving a community like this. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, now we're down to forum interagencies.
Don't see any agencies, nope.
BEA. No report tonight? Okay. CSEA. No report from CSEA? VSMA. No report? Okay. Reports of district advisory committees.
No reports this evening.
Committee members.
Additional cards? Nope.
Okay. Student reports. Do you want to start with, Vallejo High?
Okay, there we go. Good evening, community board. So this senior night for football is going to be this Friday at 7 p.m. Vallejo High School girls golf player Jackie Reagan Tucker competed in the TCAL golf championships. Of the 52 golfers who teed it up, she came in second overall. Jackie then competed at the NCS Championships. She didn't place, but we are proud of her representing VHS at such a high level. Vallejo High School is collaborating with Ser Latino and our community school program proudly present its first ever Banda Night tomorrow from 4:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. It will include a live banda, food, Catrina competition, college and career information, fun, and family. There's also going to be a webinar presented. I'm not sure in what room yet. They're trying to get that set up, but it's going to be a webinar kind of on behalf of the county, talking about Medi-Cal cuts, CalFresh in Spanish. So, yeah. Tomorrow we will be having grade level assemblies to recalibrate campus expectations, policies, and procedures. These will be led by the admin team. Quarter one grades are out, and there is a campus-wide push for students to take advantage of tutoring if their grades don't look the way they would like them to. A lot of students have been taking advantage of this intervention to improve their grades. Counselors are working on CSU applications with seniors. They will be hosting Turkey Day application session with a large group of seniors on November 21st. And today we acknowledged First Generation Day, where we recognize all the VHS staff who are first generation college students. Staff recognized were site safety, teachers, our vice principal, and our principal. And that is my report. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. John Finney.
Good evening, everyone. I'm a little unprepared, sorry. John Finney as a whole still sees good reports as far as grades. Our second quarter just started 2 weeks ago now, and we still see a very high bump in the phones, not having our phones working. Everybody's grades are good. Next week, actually, on the 13th, I have a scholarship recognition dinner for the Law Academy Scholarship through Jesse Bethel. That's through the that's through the the Asian Pacific American Bar Association, who I don't know how to say that. Who they give out scholarships every year to law students who are looking to go to college or just looking to study in law somewhere or have some type of career with that. And I applied, so the dinner's next week for that. And I'm very excited for the NLC Youth Delegation Conference coming up in 2 weeks that all three of the student trustees and a group of students from all three high schools in Vallejo will be attending in Salt Lake City, Utah. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for your report. We are down now to consent items. Consent A through M. Do I hear a motion? Vice President Amboy?
I'd like to make a motion to approve action item or consent items 8A through M.
Hear a second? Trustee Flores?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Hodges.
Aye.
Trustee Flores.
Aye.
Trustee Young is absent. Vice President Amboy.
Aye.
President Fox.
Aye.
Trustee Valdez Jacobo. Trustee Arbob is absent. And Trustee De Leon.
Aye.
The motion passes 4 with 1 absent.
Thank you. We're now down to 9 information items, 9A.
These next two items, I see Ms. Topacio is on there. The first is the Williams quarterly report. It looks like there was 2 items on the quarterly report. Ms. Topacio, can you provide us some context to those? And then item B.
Hi, everybody. Forgive me. Got to breathe out my mask now. Yes, so we have the quarterly Williams report. There were 2 instructional materials items, one one instructional materials item for Vallejo High School that was resolved through purchasing whatever missing items there were for that in advance of sufficiency of materials, and then one facility conditions item at Jesse Bethel, which was also resolved.
Thank you for that information. Item B.
Okay. Sorry, let me organize myself here. All right, so good evening, everyone. President Fox, Vice President Amboy, Trustee Flores, Trustee Hodges, Trustee Jacobo, and Trustee De Leon, and Superintendent, and members of the community. Tonight I am presenting on the Fall 2025 academic update to provide some context of both the CASP data from spring of 2025 as well as the fall baseline data for our local assessments. So I'll start with a quote: "What gets measured gets improved." And so this is about being, open and honest about where we are in our academic achievement and what our strengths have been, but also the growth we need to continue to make. Our data tells a story that we are growing and moving forward, but not always as fast as we want. The data helps us understand our progress and guide our next steps, ensuring every action we take moves us closer to student achievement goals. And today's data is a reflection of journey. It's not where we want to end up. We are acknowledging that our growth will take some time, collaboration, and shared belief in what is possible for every student. So this information will guide our interventions and support our continuous improvement goals across VCUSD. So just an overview of the types of assessments we do in Vallejo. We have baseline assessments that help us understand where students begin each year. We have formative and performance task assessments that are scheduled on a regular basis for all grade levels. We have benchmark assessments which monitor progress throughout the year, and of course our summative assessments which measure end-of-year mastery. So each type builds on the others, helping us provide a full picture of the student learning and growth. Our baseline is conducted each fall. It consists of our core phonics survey, our multitude screener at K2 that you approved just this past year. We use tools such as the core phonics survey and multitude screener for early literacy, our reading fluency checks in grades 2 through 8, our NWA MAP assessment, the measure of academic progress in grades 1 through 12, and our students who have special needs and are in special day classes use the unique learning systems assessments for their needs. So this data allows teachers to immediately tailor instruction and target early interventions and set the tone for the rest of the year. Formative assessments take place 3 times a year. On this slide, I provided an example of one of those formative assessments, what a performance task would look like. And this, I selected one from 3rd grade, so it would just kind of be right smack dab in the middle. But it should speak to the level of depth of knowledge that we seek for students to be able to articulate in their writing and in response to questions. So the target is for a student to be able to write a response based on the readings that they've done in class across content areas, and to articulate a point of view. So I provide that as an example from our planning and curriculum guides, what we are asking teachers to prepare students to be able to respond to. So in addition to, of course, those performance tasks, unit and chapter tests for all content areas. So kids take regular math tests and take regular reading checks and things like that. And of course, there's interim and early literacy assessments for progress monitoring. So these tasks are intended to deepen comprehension in writing and critical thinking, not just test preparation, but application of learning. Our benchmark assessments happen twice a year, allowing us to track progress midstream. These include the continued use of the core phonics survey, the multitudes screener, our reading fluency and NWA MAP, measures of academic progress, and our interim assessment blocks for the high school level. Benchmarks help us answer, are students on pace to meet the grade level standard? They also help us adjust and support for students and schools before the summative testing occurs. Summative testing, of course, being our end-of-year CASP and SBAC assessments. So in grades 1 to 12, I mentioned the measures of academic progress. It is an adaptive tool that measures achievement, growth, and predicts CASP Smarter Balanced Assessment performance. And we do those, of course, as a baseline, a benchmark, and in the spring for non-testing grades. And then, of course, our summative assessments, our CASP assessments, our Smarter Balanced ELA and Math. It includes our science test, and it includes the California alternative assessments for our students who have that written into their IEP. And in addition to that, our LPAC assessment. The English Language Proficiency Assessment is really key in our district because of the number of students we have who are multilingual learners. We want to make sure that they're advancing in their English proficiency and able to access content on par with their English-only peers so that we're not holding students back in their language proficiency. Just a quick overview, the Smarter Balanced Assessments, the CASP, measures proficiency and growth on a scaled score and a distance from standard. This helps us see both where students are performing and how much progress they're making year to year. We also ensure that students who are newly arrived English learners within their first year in the U.S. are exempt from the ELA portion of the test, so you'll notice that exemption, and students in grades 3 through 8 and 11 who have an IEP designating the California alternative take that test instead. So now onto some data. Starting with English learner proficiency, the LPAC. This assessment is completed annually by students who are multilingual learners, and they are identified based on their home language survey. So upon enrollment, if a student indicates that they speak a language other than English at home, they would be targeted to receive this assessment to make sure they're receiving services appropriate to their needs. In 2024, 7.05% of our English learners reached a level 4, meaning well-developed, the well-developed proficiency level, but this year that number rose to 8.7%. So that is an increase. That's a positive gain and reflects the hard work of the targeted ELD specialists and classroom teachers doing both integrated and designated ELD instruction. So what we want to see is that far more of our students, reach the level 4 designation, and so that'll be a data point that we continue to monitor and improve. We did see some very strong growth at a few of our school campuses in the rate of proficiency in growth on the LPAC. So I want to just highlight Glen Cove grew by 10% in their English language proficiency. Cave grew by 7.5%, and Dan Maney and Wardlaw around 4% each. So all of these schools made positive gains in their proficiencies for English learners, and I just wanted to highlight some of the positive growth.
Do we know why the outlier of Glen Cove was so high?
So I can speculate. What I will say as I get to some of the rest of the presentation is where we are seeing really strong implementation of our early literacy activities and the instructional expectations around that, we are seeing greater gains across the board. Coming to the Smarter Balanced Assessment for English Language Arts. In 2024, we are at 25.3, met or exceeded proficiency, and this year 25.8, a very nominal increase. So it's certainly not where we want it to be, but we are seeking an upward trend, and my hope is that our literacy initiatives are starting to really take hold, and we don't slide backwards, and we continue to progress forward. And you asked President Fox about why I thought those gains might have existed in those campuses, and if I go to the next slide, we have some highlighted gains at some of our campuses that, while not as dramatic as the ones we saw for our English learners, we are seeing some positive growth. It's much more nominal, but with John Finney increasing, Stephen Manor and Jesse Bethel all making decent gains, our focus on literacy across the school sites is apparent in those increases. In mathematics, still quite nominal. The increase does signal some positive momentum, and we know that math growth takes a lot of sustained focus, and while we are not where we want to be, we are continuously moving in a positive direction. And so I will highlight a couple of schools that have made some significant growth, specifically our high schools made a significant amount of growth in the area of mathematics, and a few of our schools made some notable growth, specifically Cooper and Pennycook made some notable growth in the area of mathematics in this last year. So we'll continue to study these success stories and share those effective practices. But at the high schools, I do know that we spent some time and energy and resources on mathematics coaching, and so I'd like to double down on that and make sure we're maintaining those services in the area of coaching around mathematics, because those gains at the high schools across the board were significant. So it speaks to instruction, right? There's no, as I always say, there's no magic one thing that does that makes improvement. It is the entire system working together. So now I come to our baseline assessments, and this is pulled directly from our NWA MAP outcomes. As I mentioned, MAP is a predictor of performance on CASP. So at this time, we see some, kind of about the same where we see the outcomes from the spring is where it looks like we're landing for the fall baseline. But we do see some improvement when we compare fall 2024 to fall 2025. So Cave, Federal Terrace, Highland, Hogan, Pennycook, and Vallejo High in the area of English language arts all are doing better than they were at this time last year. So I note that as a positive. But this data is not this is prior to any significant instruction. So we will continue to moderate this data and monitor this data at the mid-year point to compare those outcomes. Similarly for math, when we compare the fall 2024 to fall 2025, Federal Terrace, Cooper, Highland, Jesse Bethel, Lincoln, Solano, and Vallejo High all made significant increases when we compare year-over-year baselines. So we'll be looking for them to continue to grow. I've spoken a lot at the podium about early literacy efforts. So we do have very specific targets for our early literacy instruction, where we focus on kinder, first, second, and third grade students, but I'm focusing on K-1-2 here, to make sure we're sending forward students to the higher grades who have all of their literacy skills in place. So these are the targets that we have for our students. Coming out of kindergarten, we want all students to be able to have all of their letter names and sounds. That seems like a very base skill, but it is a key building block. With at least 80% of them able to read 100% of the consonant, vowel, consonant words that are placed in front of them. Those are those words like cat, sat, mat, hit, pot, those kind of words, consonant, vowel, consonant. So if students can come out of kindergarten with those skills, then we can be confident that they will not need remediation in first and second grade. We also have a target of 80% of our first grade students meeting a fluency of 60 words a minute at the end of first grade, and 80% of second graders meeting a fluency target of 100 words a minute at the end of second grade. So if we meet those targets through our targeted efforts in phonics and phonemic awareness through UFly, which is district-wide now, then we will be sending students forward with the requisite skills to do better as they go to take these high-stakes tests. So just in terms to highlight a little bit of growth, in the spring of 2024, 63% of students in kindergarten exited kindergarten knowing all of their letter names and sounds, but in spring 2025, that number rose to 72. Our new kindergartners on the fall baseline, 49.6 were able to, excuse me, 49.6% were able to read all their letter names and sounds. So that's a good starting point. I can also attribute some of that to now that we are universal TK and students are entering school and getting preparation a little younger, they're coming into kindergarten with more school readiness skills. In the consonant, vowel, consonant word reading, you can see there's a dramatic improvement from spring 2024 to spring 2025, the number of students who are coming out of kindergarten able to read real words. So those are positive things. The baseline, and remember this is what assessments students did as they entered first grade. 23% of students entering first grade were able to read all their CVC words. So that's a starting point. Now we know where we need to grow from. And then you can see school by school how students are doing on those assessments. So if they started with a higher number of students coming out of kindergarten able to read those words, then they start first grade able to read those words. So 23% district-wide are able to do that, but we see some highlights of schools that are doing a little bit better than that.
Like Dan Mini or Glen Cove, that's
correct. Those schools are, you can see the individual percentage rates for those schools. And those were early adopters of our UFly Phonics programs. So I anticipate that they will continue to make gains. And the other schools are coming along and adopting that now. For second grade, our goal at the end of the year is that 80% of second graders meet their fluency target. Right now, we're at 45.3% meeting their fluency target. And one school you don't see on these lists is because they test in Spanish is CAVE. And so I didn't want to add them in comparison to other schools, but they assess in Spanish, and 14% right now are proficient at the second grade level for CAVE in Spanish. So what we know is that, and I mentioned this, there's no silver bullet solution, no perfect curriculum, no single rock star, but instead, schools that are growing share a commitment to build a culture of belonging, deliver consistent grade level instruction, and build coherent instructional programs. So what we are doing as a district is developing the systems to allow that to happen, being really clear about our expectations, really clear about our tools and resources, and really targeted in our professional learning to make sure that teachers have the tools they need to improve these numbers. What we know is that it is only through being consistent that we're going to continue to make growth. This quote is from the New Teacher Project that studied 28,000 public elementary and middle schools where the average student was not at grade level. And what the study found is that a small percentage of them were trajectory-changing schools, right? And what we want to be is a trajectory-changing district. But trajectory-changing schools average anywhere from 1 to 2 point percentage gains in a year. But where we have consistent leadership, where we have consistent teachers who value our professional learning, then we can start to see our practices take hold. So as I've shared before, there's a variety of initiatives and activities that we're doing to support continued improvement. And this is not an exhaustive list, but these are some highlights that I want to share. They're specifically designed to build consistency and coherence across the VCUSD system. High-quality professional learning and coaching that are tied to our instructional priorities. If it's not an instructional priority or a social-emotional learning priority or a PBIS learning priority, we don't do it. We conduct consistent principal walkthroughs. Each principal has a target, a metric that they should be meeting regularly to provide consistent feedback on instruction. In addition to that, the entire district team at the district office conducts learning walks 3 times a year in collaboration with school sites. So every school is visited. Sorry, Zanaya, I know we popped in on your classroom. Every school is visited 3 times a year to observe instruction across the district. And that is not just instructional staff, that is support teams from every division are taking responsibility for understanding what positive classrooms look like, what good instruction looks like. We continue our partnership with Core Learning, who are helping us with some monthly coaching and calibration around implementing of literacy activities and math activities. So we are we've expanded our partnership with them to provide that regular coaching. Our MTSS structures, multi-tiered systems of support, including our data-driven care teams and SSTs, are a key improvement for this school year, where we have developed the care team, the standards for care team, and doing some continuous training with administrators and support teams around implementation. Of course, our continued focus on attendance, recognizing that every day a student is present is a day of learning. Continuing on, our full implementation of UFly, which is a program out of the University of Florida, phonics and phonemic awareness at the early grades. We are continuing to expand our CTE pathways, our dual enrollment opportunities, our partnerships around the city to ensure that students are graduating ready for college and career. I'll add to that recently we held the PSAT for all 11th grade students in the district, and to further build that culture of academic excellence and that college-going understanding that every student can go to college if that's what they choose to do. We are coaching our instructional leaders to help strengthen that culture of excellence on every campus, collaborating amongst our counseling teams to align the academic and social emotional supports for students. So whereas there was a time when there weren't many meetings with the counseling teams to build collaboration, that has expanded, and we're working on that in a very strategic and consistent way. And then as a district, we are committed to continuous improvement. Our teams are consistently engaging in learning, even at the district level, around how to build continuous improvement cycles and models within our district. And then I would be remiss if I did not mention that our ALDER residency program is in support of bringing in and training teacher residents who will then be our cadre of new teachers, so that we have teachers who are starting in our system fully credentialed, having been trained and supported by high-quality veteran teachers within our district. And lastly, I would just note that there's a regular presence of district-level leaders on campuses under Superintendent Aurelio's leadership. Every district-level administrator is more present on campuses than they were previously, and even our executive cabinet meetings are being hosted on school campuses to have greater presence, because where we spend our time and attention is the thing that can change. I also want to share with you one last a couple of last slides that highlight some of the tools that we're using, because I want to give you an example of what I mean by some of the things that are kind of listed in bullet form on those previous slides. So I spoke to the care teams, and I spoke to the systems of targeting students for support. Well, there's a data system that we use called Student Analytics Lab, and one of the dashboards that we've created it pulls data to identify students who have a particular level of risk, right? So a student who is has poor attendance, a student who has poor academic achievement, and a student who has multiple disciplinary infractions would be targeted for additional supports and should be brought to care teams, should have an SST, should have some kind of outreach. And so this dashboard is available to principals and to school teams to identify students who are in need, who might typically fall under the radar. If they're not loud, you might not notice, right? And so this is a way to use data to identify where our needs are. And so we're calling this our early warning system. In addition to it being available to principals and we access it in meetings, it's also pushed out to them automatically every few weeks, the list, and so they get the list of students and their potential risk. So this is what that looks like in a snapshot and an overview. The students who might be captured in the blue band don't have a risk, they're doing fine. Students in green are at low risk, students who are at some medium level of risk are in orange, and then students identified as a high risk are in red. So you'll see there's some schools with higher bands than others, and that might make sense if you think about the programs offered at each of those school campuses. Okay, but the expectation is that principals understand who those students are and how they're going to serve them more effectively. And then lastly, I want to highlight some of the work we do through our learning walks is capturing what level of instruction we're seeing on a regular basis. So we maintain data on that. We look at data on the presence of our instructional priorities in the classroom. And in the fall 2024, you can see in the orange bars, that is the number of tasks, like the things that students were doing that could be identified as higher order thinking or closely examining grade level texts or foundational literacy skills or collaboration in student talk. Those are the number of tasks that we observed where those things were present. This year when we went in the fall, we observed more prevalence of our instructional priorities in the instructional day. So that's a positive thing to be seeing that our instructional priorities are being more broadly implemented this year when we compare to last. So in summary, our fall assessment data is a cause for cautious optimism and a clear call to action, of course. We're seeing progress in key areas, and we're seeing some evidence that the work is taking hold, but we also acknowledge the need to accelerate and continue pushing forward. As we famously say here, we don't take our foot off the gas. We have so much to do. And so I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Trustee Jacobo?
Hi, good evening. My apologies if you already went over this or if I'm not really educated on this. Are there any type of programs that are offered to help these kids? Because I know in the classroom is one thing, but sometimes kids really need that extra push or that extra support to focus better on tests.
Right.
I know, I think it's called test stress is like a really big thing where you could be doing really good in the classroom and then you're in front of that computer or that paper and you just panic. And if so, are federal cuts going to affect those programs or that extra help?
So we'll have to, the jury's still out on whether federal cuts will impact how we're able to serve. But as I mentioned around the initiative to do what we call multi-tiered systems of support, right? And those care teams, where we have a student who is academically struggling or struggling with their social emotional needs or whatever the impetus is, right? Their needs should be brought to that group and help to determine what services that we have can we implement for that student, whether it be tutoring, because we do have tutoring services available, whether it's some type of mentorship or a trusted adult that they need to build, we need to do some outreach to build a stronger relationship with that student. Maybe they need the services of the mental health support provider to offer some coping strategies when they're having test anxiety or test stress, right? Even our highest achieving students will fall victim to that, right? Because they put so much pressure on themselves. Our youngest kids want to be perfect too, right? So we do have lots of intervention options for our students, and those are just a few.
And lastly, thank you so much. Since we don't know really specifically where those cuts could affect us, right? Do we have a plan for if it does?
There's always a plan. As you know, we are seeking to reduce some things in our budget, right? But we protect as much as we can those things that are the most effective, right? So the things around building skills for high quality instruction, we're going to try our best to protect those things. And some of these things, they don't cost money, but they're about how we plan and how we organize our day. So I can't speak to what's going to happen, in terms of the finances we get from the federal government. We're monitoring our state and our federal, all those dollars to make sure we are prepared for whatever cuts come our way. Sorry.
Trustee Flores?
I want to say thank you first for the thorough report. Definitely want to start off by congratulating you, the district, staff, teachers, all down the line. Looking at slide 27, where we're seeing it in action, the expectations that we're having of our teachers and of our instructors. So I definitely want to say keep up the good work in regards to that. But sounds
No, it's all right. It's okay.
it always sounds terrible when you say great job, but and this is in no way criticisms, but these are questions as we're going through that I came. Slide 11, English learner proficiency growth. The big spikes in some of the schools, have they been looked at the why? Are there have SOPs been identified and are they spreading?
Yes, I know the story of each of these schools in some way or another, and I know the way the leader has approached the work around supporting our multilingual learners. I know where there are key systems in place in how they use the bilingual tutor or how they prepare students ahead for the assessment, doing some what we call test chats and things like that. And where we know that English language development is consistently taught. There's integrated ELD, which is we should be doing all day, all the time, making sure students are able to access the content. And then there's designated ELD, where we're building students, really focusing on student building their vocabulary and building their self-expression skills through speech, through exchanging ideas, and building their competencies that way. I think also where we see higher levels of structured student talk, our English learners fare better. And so that's one of our instructional priorities is structured student talk. And so I would guess that the schools here who've made the most gains have also done a better job of initiating structured student talk protocols on their campus, especially for their multilingual learners. I know Dan Minnie the best, and I know that there are about 30 to 40% English learners on that campus. So as I used to say all the time, however we do by our English learners is how we do by our students. So they are not a subgroup to me or, a separate group. If we do well by multilingual learners, we do well by everybody. And so I take this as a really key bellwether around positive things to come where people are taking that stance around the academic success of their multilingual learners.
But, so the question though is that the success that we're seeing at these sites, has it been identified so far as the strategy, the model, whatever made that site successful, has it been identified and are we expanding it out to the other sites?
And so it's probably a little different at each one, is what I'm saying. And yes, I can point to specifically why I believe each of these schools is improving, right? And always going back to my mantra, it's never one thing. They didn't do one thing well and therefore their students achieved. It would be around how broadly and how consistently they implement, their teachers implement, because it's the teachers that have to do it, implement all things, and is the leader being super clear in his or her expectations around that. Are teachers attending professional learning? Are they using their support systems effectively? If we have tutors on that campus and they're using them highly effectively as one of those multi-tiered systems of support, then we're going to see that growth in a more robust way. So each school is a little bit different. Some are doing all the things really well, and some are doing a few of the things well, and maybe are having less success. It's hard to say that it's one or two things, but I can point to, for each of these, something that they're doing really well that would highlight this growth.
So I think that kind of goes back to the initial opening remarks about what we measure. If we know that certain things that are being adopted and being worked on and being implemented consistently, that's creating that growth, how are we not monitoring it or implementing it or like mid course, why? So if we're seeing a school that's not applying as part of it, right? Not one specific thing, but just part of it that makes the whole.
Right.
I think that's more along what I'm trying to get.
So that the monitoring comes into play in the observations that we're doing. Our coordinators and directors are on campuses doing walkthroughs with principals on a regular basis, giving them recommendations on, how to push forward in some areas where they see weakness. So that's happening in a formative way all the time. Just like we have assessments for students, we have levels of assessment for schools, right? And where we see there's a particular need, if we have noticed that there is inconsistency in staffing, we know that's going to impact some outcomes. If we've noticed that there is no turnover at that school, that the staff is consistently in place and therefore learning year over year, and the principal is able to get a foothold in her leadership or his leadership around some key priorities, then we do see that. We see more growth, right? So there's so many factors that come into play. But in terms of monitoring, the series of observations that we do is our monitoring. We track whether or not principals, for instance, are doing their walkthroughs, right? And if they're not doing their walkthroughs, that is as a monitoring conversation. It's written into each of their evaluations that they do that. So the other thing that I would just point to is our instructional priorities are in black and white, and we are very clear on the expectation. Do these things, and everything else will follow. But it does require that we have that robust professional learning in an ongoing way, because we do have people at on different levels of experience and education on their journey as an educator, and so we have to take that into account and continue to provide that support.
n- Another question in regards to slide 15, and I believe the scores we see improving in the high school levels, and you mentioned that it was due to like heavy duty dosage of
Coaching.
and whatnot. I look at that as maybe a little backwards, where I think that where we should be focusing, where I would think that we'd want to put the focus is, that high level focus is on the early grades, so that when they're in high school, by the time they won't be behind, so they don't need that intensive.
Right. So, and this coaching is for the instructors, just to be clear when I say this coaching, because the change comes from, the teachers in the classroom every day, right? Doesn't matter what I know. I'm not there with every student every day. And I agree with you. The effort needs to be, we need to have effort at the elementary grades, and we have implemented some similar targeted coaching for math at the elementary grades as well. But as I transitioned to this role, what I acknowledged was that while we can continue to work on the elementary grades, there were some practices around coaching and professional learning that were in play that were maybe missing at our high schools. And I think we have to be able to do both. We cannot leave our secondary students behind while we focus and just hope that that trickles up. We have to do a little bit of both, right? So we did expand what was offered in terms of professional learning and coaching at the high schools so that our students benefit from high quality instruction today, right? While we are also maintaining the rigor and the expectations around ELA, and then expanding to include math. We started with ELA and early literacy at elementary as the primary focus, and then added math in the next year, because what we know about the elementary tests is that they're reading heavy, right? Even in math, they're very reading heavy. So we want kids to be able to access that content and access both the instruction and the language on the assessments. The other thing that I'm interested to see how it plays out is we just adopted a new math curriculum for the elementary grades through 8th. And I anticipate, I'm hearing really good feedback about that new adoption. And so you'll recall that a team of teachers reviewed the available curriculums, and we selected one and went through a whole selection process with Unbound Ed, which was really empowering process. And I've seen the curriculum in use, and I'm really encouraged by what I see. And so emphasizing that we use our materials as intended, and then coach teachers to use them better and better.
And yeah, thank you for pointing that out, that it is important to bring up the kids that are struggling today as well as getting that early. So thank you for pointing that out. Just the last thing I had, and this is more coming from a parent perspective, on slide 18, we're talking about early literacy targets, kindergarten, 100%. And then when I see 80%, I ask myself, so what are we expecting of the 20%,
Right.
know? And so just.
If I can speak to that.
Yeah, just
because
for the community, what does that mean?
It is not to say that only 80% of kids will be able to read, right? That 60 words a minute target, if 80% reach that target and say a few are, just under, right? It doesn't mean that those kids are forgotten about, but when we're reaching for a growth target based on where we are, if we get to that 80% and then a student reads 55, okay, we're going to push them to the 60, right? But it's just as setting our aggressive target from where we are today, right? So that's what it's about. It's not leaving out that 20%. And then, thinking about, students do develop at different rates, right? Not all students are going to read at the same rate at the same time. But yes, that I do acknowledge that that says 80, not 100, right? And that is something that I want 100% of my kids reading at grade level. But based on where we are today, it's an aggressive goal.
I have more of a comment than a question. I do recall a similar presentation from 3 years ago. But from where we were 3 years ago to where we are today, it's a positive shift, in my opinion. There's been a lot more growth in all the schools compared to where we were 3 years ago, and I appreciate the movement. And I know that, again, like we've all said, we got to keep our foot on the pedal, and again, we do need to strive for better achievement, and I think we're getting there. But I think what's different from then to now is we're more focused, and we know there's a lot more work to do. And again, I do thank you and thank your team.
Thank you.
All right. My questions. The EL slide back on EL proficiency is one of the first slides.
Yes.
What are we doing for the level threes that get stuck? And if they get stuck, which a lot of them do, then when they get to middle school and high school, they can't take an elective because they're not reclassified, so they have to stay in an EL class instead of taking an elective. So what specifically are we doing at the elementary level to empower, that we get them reclassified before they leave elementary school out of the level three, that we are really identifying that level three and how to get them unstuck per se?
Yeah, this was the topic of our most recent district leadership team just on Monday, right? And acknowledging that long-term English learners are identified in elementary school, by and large, right? You have very few who are coming as newcomers into high school. For the most part, our multilingual learners arrive in kindergarten, and there's a decent percentage that leave elementary school still not reclassified. So that is a clear topic for us and a clear problem to unpack that we're continuing to work on. So as an example, schools that do test chats with their students to make sure they know what to anticipate on this test. What does a 3 and a 4, what's the difference between a 3 and a 4? Right? Making sure that families know the importance of getting this test completed and letting them know the reclassification criteria and how our benchmark assessments support the reclassification criteria. Just at one of the DLAC meetings last year, Ms. Gossett presented to parents all the ways that their children who are just almost there could reclassify. And so some of it is building people's understanding of what it takes to reclassify, making sure kids are motivated to approach this test and to improve. Because the difference between the elementary test and the 9th grade test is, you don't want to be taking that test. I don't want to take that test in 9th grade. It is hard. Right, and so getting kids reclassified early is critical, and so yes, we are addressing that very head on.
I know for me, where I work, my district, anyone that's a level 3, we had to, each teacher is doing a specific plan for each of those teachers, and making sure by the time they get to the LPAC in the spring, that they are aware, it's like the leader in me, that they are empowered to know where they are and where they need to go and what will happen if they don't get to that reclassification. But there's also lots of celebration for those that are reclassified. It's a big deal with certificates and school-wide to really praise and show. So it's acknowledged and it's like part of the culture that, hey, this is the level, we need to get you to this level. And when you get to this level, we are really going to
Gonna
celebrate you.
And I omitted this, but we do regular celebrations of our students who reclassify. We do, of course, a district-wide celebration that Ms. Gossett and her team puts together, but then each school site does a celebration as well. So yes,
Wonderful.
we always invited, it was cake, it was certificates, it was all kinds
Awesome.
of things. Yeah.
The next question I have, for the Smarter Balance for math, can you go back to the Smarter Balance for ELA, please? I know the Smarter Balance math was 15. No, by school. Okay. So let me see. Stephen Manor has, so I'm looking at elementary specifically. And so I'm seeing that elementary, the highest elementary scoring, Cave is a dual
It's the
emerging.
improvement, though. These are improvements,
The
right?
improvement, the highest improvement, I see Stephen Manor at 5%, correct? For ELA,
At elementary, yes.
elementary. And that's Smarter Balance, Stephen Manor. Okay, but then when we go to math, by school, the highest one is Cooper in elementary and Pennycook for the most gains.
Okay.
So where my brain is going when we're looking at school consolidation and school closures, when we have something that's really powerful and working, making school gains at Cooper Elementary and math with 4.3% increase school-wide culture, and we look at Pennycook with 3.15% growth in math, and then in ELA we look at Stephen Manor with 5% ELA gain. And then I'm thinking in dismantling those, being part of a team to dismantle those schools and put them out into other areas. Oh my. So this is another piece of the puzzle that's really weighing on my brain when I'm looking at this data that, oh my, so here we have making strives for these great growths, and then we're going to dismantle and change and shake it all up, and then we don't know what we're going to expect. So because we're changing it all, especially the highest ones that I'm seeing are on the list. The highest ones that are making growth are on our school closure list, our consolidation list. Do you see where my frustration is going for next year's data?
Yes.
Not next year, the year after.
Yes. I'm sure you're not alone in sharing the worries of what all of that means. I share your worry.
Because a lot of those schools won't be the students going to one school, they'll be going to multiple schools. The teachers who are making that progress will also be going to multiple schools based on seniority. So we're really dismantling this progress we're seeing going forward. Yes, the students take the progress with them, but the whole environment and culture and uprooting, it's another big piece of this puzzle that's now looking at this data is weighing on me, thinking going forward with these decisions and these meetings we're going to have in this next month or two that we want to do something by December. Well, this is very important because if we want a high-performing, like you said, the whole district high-performing, what did you call the district? An inclusive, I forget. We want our district to be a what district?
Sorry, I have a cold. I don't remember every word I said. It'll come to me.
Anyways,
It'll
but
come to me.
I'm just, It's, to me, it's like starting over at a new site with a new culture, and that just worries me even more.
President Fox, if I can add to, and we don't see it on these charts, what we're seeing here is the change from one year to the next and the percent of kids, the growth in that percentage that met or exceeded standard. What the chart isn't showing us, though, is what level is that school achieving at.
Right.
So, that is another part of the puzzle, too.
Right.
So we show that Cooper made gains, great. We want to see every school on this list. What we don't see is every school on this list, because that means some schools that didn't make this list, it's because they didn't show gains.
Right.
So that, when I see this list, and this is just a generalized statement across all our schools, our kids deserve better across the board. We need to do better.
Agreed.
Better as a district, better at each individual school. We are highlighting the schools that showed positive growth. What we're not showing here is the schools that did the opposite of that. We also will need to look at these as a whole at
Right.
their current achievement levels. Because you might have schools making positive growth, which is wonderful, but they might also be starting at a much lower level than some of their counterparts.
Okay.
That
Can we-
full picture needs
I
to
would
be-
like to see that full picture
I can-
before we make the
course.
decisions in December.
I'd be happy to provide that to you.
Thank you. The other item, the state of California was really on us the last few years. One of the items that they had was the percent of students taking the CAS test. I have not seen that, if our percentage is met, is it gone down, is it the
5%
static,
is
is
the
it above?
I used to report out on it because I knew that was an area of concern. But in the last couple of years, we have built the system so that is no longer the biggest thing I need to report on. So we were at about 98% of students assessed, right?
So we are meeting
we're meeting our expectations.
What the state wanted us
Yes,
to improve
yes,
on.
yes.
Good, so we're still continuing.
Yeah,
Okay, awesome,
I'll
thank
add that
you.
back to my slides next time.
Okay.
I get to say something
Well, no, I
good.
just remember that
No, it was a problem,
they
right?
were eating us up on that, so.
Yeah, it was a
okay.
problem.
I think that's all I have for mine. Thank you, and I think that's all questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm going to stay nearby.
You're
though.
going to stay right there?
I think
So
there's
now we're on action item 10A, is that correct?
that one.
Yes, and I can introduce that one. This is the second reading of a series of board policy updates and administrative regulation updates. So the first reading was at our last regular board meeting. We're bringing it back for an adoption. And this,
We need a
these
motion.
packets contain the three different
Yes.
levels.
Do I hear a motion to adopt 10A? Vice President Amboy,
I make a motion to adopt 10A.
Trustee Hodges,
Second.
roll call, please.
Trustee Hodges,
Aye.
Trustee Flores,
Aye.
Trustee Young is absent, Vice President Amboy,
Aye.
President Fox.
Aye.
Trustee Valdez Jacobo. Trustee Arbab is absent, Trustee De Leon,
Aye.
and the motion passes with 4 yes and 1 absent.
Thank you. Action item B.
So I have this next one too, which is we're asking the board to adopt a policy update to bylaw 9250, which is remuneration, reimbursement, and other benefits. Now this policy we are bringing back because the California's Assembly Bill 1390, which was authored by Jose Luis Solache Jr., was also signed by Governor Newsom into law on October 13th, which changes the ability to pay both our governing board and student trustees at a higher rate. So we're bringing this forward for adoption. We think it's time.
Vice President Amboy,
I'd like to make a motion to approve action item 10B.
Trustee Hodges,
Second.
roll call, please.
Trustee Hodges,
Aye.
Trustee Flores,
Aye.
Trustee Young is absent, Vice President Amboy,
Aye.
President Fox.
Aye.
Trustee Valdez Jacobo.
Aye.
Trustee Arbab is absent, Trustee De Leon.
Aye.
The motion passes 4 yes with 1 absent.
Thank you. Action item C, approval memorandum of understanding between VCUSD and Sonoma State University.
Yes, so before you will be actually 2 items. One MOU with Cal State University Sonoma. We are engaging in a memorandum of understanding with Cal State Sonoma to provide guaranteed admission to VCUSD students who meet the minimum requirements for California State University. It also articulates a cooperative relationship with CSU Sonoma to provide opportunities to have students learn about their programs and do some outreach and promote informational events for students and families. And this particular agreement would be for a term of 4 years.
Vice President Amboy,
Make a motion to approve action item 10C.
Trustee Hodges,
Second.
roll call, please.
Trustee Hodges?
Aye.
Trustee Flores?
Aye.
Trustee Young is absent. Vice President Amboy?
Aye.
President Fox?
Aye.
Trustee Valdez Jacobo?
Aye.
Trustee Arbab is absent. Trustee De Leon?
Aye.
And the motion passes 4 yes with 1 absent.
And so we have action item 10D, and this is the same thing for Cal State East Bay, is that
Yes,
correct?
similarly for Cal State
Awesome.
East Bay. You know, as we seek to enhance opportunities for student access to higher education, really focusing in on our regional colleges. This is an effort to partner with our regional and our local and regional colleges in a more robust way. And similarly to Sonoma State, this agreement also provides for cooperation in promoting events and opportunities for students to know what they have access to.
Thank you. Vice President Amboy?
I'd like to make a motion to approve action item 10D.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Hodges?
Aye.
Trustee Flores?
Aye.
Trustee Young is absent. Vice President Amboy?
Aye.
President Fox?
Aye.
Trustee Valdez Jacobo?
Aye.
Trustee Arbab is absent. Trustee De Leon?
Aye.
And the motion passes 4 yes with 1 absent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Action item 10E, certificated request for sabbatical leave.
Good evening, President Fox, trustees. Before you is a request from employee number 8606, who is requesting the governing board's approval to take a sabbatical leave for the second semester from January 2026 through June 30 of 2026. VEA's contract language, Article 7.1.15 in short, a member may be granted a sabbatical leave by the board if they have 7 years of consecutive service with the district. The unit member must submit a planned program of travel or study, and a unit member that's granted a half-year leave must return to the district and serve for an additional full year after the sabbatical. Compensation during the leave will be 1/2 of their base salary for the unit member. And so I'm looking for your approval for the sabbatical.
Vice President Amboy?
Make a motion to approve action item 10E.
Trustee Flores?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Hodges?
Aye.
Trustee Flores?
Aye.
Trustee Young is absent. Vice President Amboy?
Aye.
President Fox?
Aye.
Trustee Valdez Jacobo?
Aye.
Trustee Arbab is absent. Trustee De Leon?
Aye.
And the motion passes 4 with 1 absent.
Thank you. Action item 10F, public hearing on the joint reopener proposals for 2025-2026 school year. Do I need to open a hearing? Do we have any hearings open? We don't have any comments or cards? Okay.
Consistent with the relevant provisions of the Educational Employment Relations Act, Government Code Section 3540 et sec, including Section 3547 of the Government Code, the Vallejo City Unified School District sunshine the following initial proposals for our reopener to the collective bargaining agreement with the Vallejo California School Employees Association, Chapter 199. We intend to negotiate Article 3, wages, Article 6, health and welfare benefits, Article 11, procedures and for evaluation of unit members, and Article 5, hours. CSEA leadership has asked that I present their initial proposal for Vallejo Chapter 199 regarding their 2025-2026 reopener. Article 3, wages. Quote, CSEA hereby proposes a fair and equitable increase to the salary schedule, stipends, and other matters contained herein. Article 6, health and welfare benefits, quote, CSEA hereby proposes a fair and equitable increase to the district's contribution towards health and welfare benefits and other matters contained herein. And Article 8, transfer and reassignment, CSEA hereby proposes language that clearly delineates the order for filling positions. Thank you.
Thank you. So do we close the hearing now?
Yes.
And we need an action? Or no?
No action.
No action. Okay. Thank you. We're on down to reports. Superintendent Aurelio.
All right, good evening, President Fox, trustees, and members of the Vallejo community. Tonight, I want to begin by acknowledging the incredible presentation we heard from the Ser Latino program. The work being done to empower our Latino students and strengthen family and community engagement is truly inspiring and reflects the heart of who we are as a district, one that values every student's voice, culture, and potential. I also want to take a moment to recognize the resolution honoring Cece and Amber Sabathia and their family, their continued generosity and deep commitment to Vallejo High School and the greater Vallejo community have made a lasting impact. From investing in athletic facilities to mentoring youth, their contributions embody partnership and service at its best. To our staff and employee groups, I want to express my deep gratitude. I know these are challenging times with looming budget reductions, the difficult conversations about school closures, and the anxiety that naturally comes with uncertainty. You continue to show up every day with professionalism, compassion, and purpose. Your dedication to supporting our students academically, socially, and emotionally does not go unnoticed. Thank you for the heart you bring to this work. Lastly, I want to share that next week, on November 12th, we will hold a special board meeting to showcase half of our schools. This will be an opportunity for our school leaders to present their incredible work happening across Vallejo City Unified, and for us to celebrate the progress being made at every level. We look forward to hearing directly from our schools and shining a light on their efforts to serve our students and families. And that's my report.
Thank you. Any questions? Board members?
No report.
Thank you. Trustee Flores?
Just a small report. Attended a 2x2 committee meeting. Interesting meeting that day. But additionally, I attended the trunk or treat at Vallejo Charter, and that was a really fun event. Great to see all the parents out there, all the kids, just enjoying themselves. And I told them I wanted to mention the Human Resource Department. My opinion, the winners of Halloween Spirit this year at the district, followed by a very close second from Educational Services. So, you just barely lost out. But with that said, that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Amboy?
I definitely want to thank Prince for that glowing report. On the 21st of October, I attended the Filipino American History Month celebration. It was a student-driven event at Jesse Bethel. It was nice to see all the students participating during the lunch period. Attended the 2x2 earlier, and I was looking forward to the KB Holmes reporting for next time, but I guess we have to put that off until December. Other than that, I do wish everyone please take care of themselves. The flu shot is still available along with the new COVID vaccine. So if you have an opportunity to get your shot, I would totally recommend it. And that was my report.
Thank you. For my report, I attended the County School Board Association, and we were asked to come back and ask, Heather DePasti, I'll have to ask you, for students when they're on their Chromebooks at all levels, our discussion was to ask each district in Solano County, what monitoring do we have so that we know if a student is on a different site or a site they shouldn't be on? What do we have, like, from elementary all the way up? And one example was given that if a student, like in middle school, was on supposed to be on a site, but then they were using another site to answer questions on a test when they shouldn't have been, what's the name of the monitoring system? How does it work? Not now, but just how going forward, if we can have a talk. And we were thinking as the Solano County, maybe having a, like we did with the reading, having a panel from each of the districts saying, this is how we monitor computer use within our district to safeguards to make sure students are on the proper site and they're not using another site to cheat, or they're not instead on YouTube, or they're not instead
So
Anyways.
there's a couple of things, and I'll just really quickly. Most of our assessments are done on a secure browser. So for assessments, even in our benchmark assessments, it's on a secure browser, so they can't have anything else open. Our cell phone policies are improving in that regard. We also
I told
do
them they were surprised.
I know. They one of the other things we also monitor is for social emotional health and crisis response. So we have I can't
Keywords that would
yeah.
trigger an email
Yes,
response.
correct. And then our mental health team reaches out to families and students when those things are identified. And teachers can monitor in real time the sites that their students are on. I don't have, my brain is a little foggy. I can't come up with the name of it right now.
I can't think of mine either.
But teachers can monitor in real time the sites that their students are on. For assessment, that's a non-issue because we only test on a secure browser. So, yeah. Okay.
Okay. I'll report back to them and see if they want to continue with that. And there also was discussion at the meeting about how AI can influence, like, trying to skew grades or reports and stuff, and how teachers will be, going forward, maybe having something on that as well in the future.
Hello? Okay. We have a team that is doing some initial meetings around how we want to address AI in our district, and, in a comprehensive way. Obviously, the AI is everywhere now, but what tools do we want students to be able to use? What tools do we want to absolutely block? What software and curriculum tools might be out there that we want to test the water with? So those meetings are happening very soon.
Thank you. And I'll report back to the county board and see what direction to go in with that. The second with the 2x2, as Vice President Amboy talked about, there was a few other things. We talked about the Nebraska Street closure again, and was really, the city has conducted their reports, and it looks like it's clear to go forward. And the funding, now they're going to look into funding to see where possible funding may be available to pay for the 2 gates at both ends of the street. They would just be closed during the school days only. So that was good headway, and we were finally glad to hear that we're actually making, that the CEQA reports were done, that the traffic calming reports were done, and we're just waiting now to see where can we get or either match or find funding to pay for. I think my numbers, it was like, I think it's 20,000 each gate. It could be up to 40,000 to install, but it depends on where the funding comes or how soon and what. So anyways, and they were looking into also grants, maybe funding through safe routes to school and from other entities. So at our next, it was supposed to be this November meeting, but now it's been canceled. So December's meeting, we're supposed to find out information on what's going to happen. How soon can we go forward, and where can the money, and do we need to match money, or is there money available to buy both gates and to install both gates? So that was very exciting for me because it's been years trying to push on this. The other thing was the youth scholarship that's coming up. I think that was pretty much for both. Did you have anything else that we?
No.
Okay. So those were my 2 for my report. All right, and with that, we're done with our reports. We're now down to community forum we do not need, closed session we do not need, announcement of upcoming meetings.
We have quite a few on the list, starting with next week's special meeting where we will see school site presentations. Like I said, it'll be 9 of our schools. Then we have our final town hall meeting. That's an in-person meeting at Vallejo High School Auditorium. That's on November 18th, that evening from 6 to 7:30. Our next regular board meeting is Wednesday, November 19th. That'll be here at 6 p.m. The November 20th is the next Superintendent Student Advisory Committee. Then we have some school closures due to holidays, so we will be closed November 24th through 28th, all school sites. The district office itself will be closed Wednesday through Friday of that week, November 26th through 28th. Then we get really busy in December. The governing board and student trustees will be attending California School Boards Association, the annual education conference in Sacramento on December 3rd through 6th. Then we have a study session on December 10th that is specifically around closures and budget reductions. We have our 2x2 in December 11th, and then we have our final regular meeting and annual organizational meeting, which will be held Wednesday, December 17th of this calendar year.
There's one thing missing. Selena, for our Mad Hatter Parade here in Vallejo, which we discussed this the last 2 years, and last year there were other organizations giving out flyers that I just want to make sure our presence, we always have our band or different schools or middle school, high school. I think it's Saturday, December 6th, and it's at dark, I think around 4 o'clock it begins, or 4:30. So I just want to make sure that this year, for sure, we have the presence in the Mad Hatter Parade here in Vallejo.
We're working on that.
Bless you.
Yes, we're working on that. One of the things that we think would be a great addition is to have our cheerleaders, for instance, in the parade and, just some of those things.
I know when the other entities had flyers and they had barcodes, you could just zap to show blah, 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 blah. I think we should have barcodes too to show Vallejo First and all the great things that people want to see. I don't know. I think those great flyers that were in Spanish and English, or whatever we can do to promote and sell.
And we do have flyers that we
I'm
made
so
already,
excited.
so we are ready to go.
Thank you. I'm so proud and excited. Anyways, did you get your costume ready? If you're a Vallejo and you know the hats, you got to get your Mad Hatter hat. It's fun. And I'm always in the back with Santa. Got it in. Anyways, thank you so much. So we'll add that there too. With that, we are now down to
Items.
any future board agenda items. Trustee Flores?
I'm not sure if this was going to fall under the board agenda, but if you can maybe guide me with it. But I received an email about the passage of AB 361, which was best value construction contracting for all schools in California. Whereas currently, when bids come in, by law, we have to accept the lowest bid regardless of what that contractor historically has provided, whether it's good or bad results of the work, wage theft violations, et cetera. I mean, my experience has been, especially with school repaints, that there was a lot of what I call low-end contractors that come in, underbid companies that play fairly, and we had to take the contract because it was just the lowest bid. So what AB 361 did was that it now has certain criteria, and schools can, just to kind of read a little bit of what it says, is in using best value procurement, districts may consider objective criteria such as technical expertise, safety record, and life cycle cost benefits rather than just price alone. So I guess to implement this, it's going to require a policy, board policy, updating administrative regulations, RFPs, contract templates, et cetera.
We could definitely look into all the
And
components.
because it's going to go into effect January 1, 2026.
Yeah.
I'd like for it to be there so that not only do we get the best value monetarily, but best value workmanship craftsmen as well.
And I know there's a minimum threshold. It's
Yes, it's $1 million.
construction projects over
$1 million.
$1 million.
Yep,
Yep,
exactly.
So Assistant Superintendent Fernandez will add it to the list of things to make sure we're up to date on.
All righty, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else for the good of the order? Thank you, everyone, and have a good evening, and we are adjourning at